Karla Scott. I am an associate professor of communication, and I also serve as an assistant dean for diversity and inclusion in the College of Arts and Sciences. I've been on the faculty for 20 years. However, in December of 1980, I graduated with my BA in the same department in which I am now faculty. So I guess I go back, was that like 34 years? Technically, I've been around. I teach courses that have to do with culture, race, gender, and communication, and also have developed and continue to teach an intergroup dialogue course. And that was one of the reasons I went back to graduate school, because I thought I want to be able to do more to make a difference in the world. I was working at a hospital and had fabulous friends who were, medical doctors. They were social workers, psychologists, and I just saw them being able to do things in ways I couldn't. And so I went back to school, and I got my master's at Southern Illinois University, Edwardsville. And I like to say I learned how to teach from hippies. And that's important because what they taught me is how you connect with the humanness of someone in a classroom. And of course, we're teaching interpersonal communication, so how can you leave the humanness out of that? There are people in my discipline who probably do, but I'm not one of them. From there, I went to the University of Illinois because I had to get the doctorate. And of course, they try to suck everything human out of you in order to do this thing called research. But when the time came for me to choose a career and a home and an institution, I had offers from both Southern Illinois University, Edwardsville, and St. Louis University. And while I didn't call it the mission, I said, I like that commitment to social justice. I like a place that says, we are doing something bigger than just educating you to go out and get a job. As a matter of fact, one of my colleagues, who was my professor 35 years ago, Dr. Avis Meyer, once said when I was a student, college does not guarantee you're going to get a good job and make a lot of money. He said, but it can help you to become a more interesting person. And I have added on that to say, and your Jesuit education enables you to go out and really transform society. Again, it started in teaching interpersonal communication, and students could see their lives in the content of the book that was full of theory. But they would go, oh, I just went through that with my roommate, or my mom does that. Oh my goodness, that's called self-disclosure. I didn't know that. And they really, to me, for the first time, started to understand what it meant to interact with people. So to complicate that by then saying what happens when you introduce notions of gender or race or socioeconomic class, it makes it even more challenging because these are people who are not like you, right? So how do we now interact with those folks? So in sort of doing the work I do, it's always been, how do we really develop students who are men and women for others? I know that phrase gets overused and it's almost trite, or with and for others. In order to develop them for or with others, they have to understand who others are. And in many ways, before you can even understand the other, you have to understand yourself. Our first students, when I took over in 2001, she was our work study student, a psychology major who decided she wanted to do, it was called a certificate at the time, but now it's a major, in African American Studies. Became president of the Society of African American Studies, so she started building her leadership skills. She was a McNair Scholar because she said she wanted to work with at-risk youth. She graduated, went on and got her PsyD, came back to the area, and she was the psychologist out in Ferguson who set up the first groups for folks to come to churches to get some assistance with the trauma of it. She got the Association of Black Psychologists out there to have psychologists out there to do counseling. She has been called upon by so many media outlets now. She's giving MSN, and last week she posted on Facebook, conference call with the White House. Oh my goodness. That's an example of the mission.